Welcome to Vlogmas day 6, I think we're on. I will at some point lose track of that, I'm sure. I am warming up my car because it is very cold for Atlanta. I think it was in the 20s when I woke up this morning, and yeah, for a body that has a lot of inflammation, cold temps, not great. It is lunchtime. I'm about to go get my infusion. I may do a couple of other errands if I feel okay. I do need to do a training for work. And the work I do is it's confidential information dealing with disability stuff. So I don't typically do my work outside of my office or my house. It's just not stuff you want people anywhere near you when you're reading. But today I have to do a training, like an hour-long online training that is not confidential. So I thought I've got my tablet, so I thought I might go to a coffee shop if I'm feeling okay. Usually I feel okay after an infusion, but right now, not feeling the best. So yeah, maybe we'll do that too. Otherwise, I'm expecting it to be a pretty chill day. I did do reading sprints last night with Krista's Patreon group. But I did not film anything. The filming every day thing is something I'm not used to, so I forget about it. But yeah, my brain is tired, if you can tell. So we're gonna go to a coffee shop and do the training, or we're definitely gonna get a coffee for sure. Tell you a little bit about my reading month so far. So it's been a week into December. I've had 3 DNFs. One of them was at the end of November, but I think I forgot to tell you about it because I didn't write it down. I need to write it down. And then I had 2 DNFs already this month. I'm just in a DNFing streak. If I'm not jiving with it, I'm just not going to read it. There's so many books. Look at all these books behind me, plus all the ones at the library. If I'm not interested in it, there's plenty of other options, right? So the first one that I DNF'd was, I'll put a picture. It's called, it's by Natalie Sue. I Hope This Finds You Well. Is that what it's called? Anyway, I'll put it right here. I had this book from NetGalley and I missed the deadline to read it just because I'm still getting used to being an e-reader. I'm still not on board with it completely. So I ended up getting this from I think I got it from the library on audio, probably. And It's about a woman who is in her 30s, 20s, late 20s, early 30s. And she drinks a lot and she has toxic issues at work. And I'm just over that. I feel like it's been done so many times. I've heard people really like this book. I've heard people that don't like this book. It's weird because one of my favorite books is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, which has a similar trope. For me, that's always been a 3-star book, which for me is a good read. It's not like an all-time favorite, but for me, Eleanor Oliphant is, I don't know why, it's a comfort read. I've read it multiple times. But yeah, this one by Natalie Sue, the writing was fine. I just had no interest in it. So I took it off my NetGalley. I let them know I wasn't going to review it. And yeah, so that's a DNF. So the next DNF was one I already took back to the library. This was The Christmas Crimes at the Mysterious Bookshop, which is a edited collection of short stories. It's edited by Otto Penzler, who is the manager of the Mysterious Bookshop. So I think I just misunderstood the premise of this book, maybe. I thought they were going to be mysterious Christmas stories, and they weren't. Well, I only read the first one, so I should just say that. The first story, so the premise is that, or the idea behind the book is the owners of the Mysterious Bookshop had, over the years, commissioned writers to write a short story as like a gift to their customers, and that they would give that short story to customers when they came in during the holidays to purchase. And then over the years, they bound them up in this collection. And yeah, so that's kind of what happened with that. The thing, it has to, the one stipulation I think was that it had to, part of it or some of it had to take place in the Mysterious Bookshop, which is I think that's a great idea, a really cute idea. The first story dealt with infidelity and stalking. And I just had no interest. Like, this is not what I want to read. This is not what I want to read. This is not what I was expecting. So I DNF'd that. Went back to the library. The next one I DNF'd was one of my 12 and 24, The Condition by Jennifer Haig. I'm just not interested in it. It is about a couple of families. I think they're like adult siblings and their families. And one of the families has a daughter who's born with a genetic difference and has that impacts how much she grows and how that supposedly impacts the rest of the family. I don't know. I'm just not. It seemed like to me that it was going to be a story of how this disability caused all these problems in the family. And that's just not something I want to read about. So I've heard she's a great writer. I don't necessarily think I'm going to not ever pick anything up from her again, but this is not where I want to be right now. And it's an old book. It's from 2008. So we'll pass that one on too. Then I read my oldest Lisa C book. I've never read Lisa C before. And I had this book, Flower Net. It is the first in the Red Princess Mysteries. And it's about, what's her name? Lu Hulan, who is an investigator in China, and is assigned a case of an American ambassador's son who is murdered in China. And she's assigned to investigate it and then taken off the case. It's weird. And then there's David in California. Yeah, California. He is a U.S. Attorney General, Assistant U.S. Attorney. And David goes to help with a situation. He's like investigating some gangs and goes to help take over a boat that's illegally in certain waters, and somehow the two are connected. And yeah, the two cases end up coming together. It sounds hodgepodge because it is. I feel like it is, but it's not, I guess. The writing was fine. I just didn't like it. And there is a connection between Hulan and David, and it just seemed a little far-fetched in a way. Yeah, I didn't really love this. I gave it 2.5 stars. So I'll read Lisa C again because I do have 2 more of hers on my shelf. But my notes were slow, confusing, not engaging, didn't care. So there we go. Then I read, I listened to mostly Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. This is about 4 sisters who we see them as adults. One of the sisters has passed away, and we see the other 3 sisters, how they interact with each other, how they're grieving the death of this sister, their relationships with their families that they've created, their relationships with their parents, and also kind of the place that the sister who passed away kind of played in the family. There's some central themes that I really liked, how it was handled, and one of them is kind of this expectations, your family expectations based on maybe like birth order. That's a big thing in here. And your expectations for yourself, like what you expect to happen in your life and what you expect of those you care the most about. If I were a crier at books, I probably would have. I did get a little teary with a lot of the grief issues. And, you know, the spatial relationship to grief and how close you were to maybe the actual act or how close you lived to the person. I think that can kind of shape your grief in ways that another person who is also grieving the same person might not experience the same. Everybody experiences grief differently. And I think Coco Mellors did a great job at differentiating between the sisters' grief. So I highly recommend. I gave this 4 stars. All right, so the next one I read was Silent Night by Nell Pattison. This is the second in the Paige Northwood series. Paige is a British Sign Language interpreter who works with the police department in cases where a sign language interpreter is needed. And this story is at a school for the deaf. There's a group of students who go kind of on a trip, and one of the students disappears and one of the teachers is found dead. So Paige is hired as the interpreter as the police are investigating. Paige previously in the first book worked with the same investigators on another case. And so we see some of those connections happening again with the police department. I didn't love this, unfortunately. I think in the beginning of the book, there's a lot of history from the first book that's kind of rehashed. And I don't really see the point of that. Giving little hints of reminders in a second in a series is cool, but kind of going back over a lot of the first book, to me, it just takes up time and it's not necessary. I didn't like the story. I didn't like Paige. She just crosses the line in so many ways. And her personality didn't really feel consistent. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but what I did like about this is it brings up a lot of really important topics, which is accessible communication in police investigations. I think it's very important. Also discusses that, not all deaf people use sign language. They don't all use the same sign language. How they talk to their friends is going to be different than how they talk to the police. So I think it was really good from a disability standpoint. It's in Own Voices. And so I think that that's a really important part of this series that needs to be seen more in literature. I just wish the story had been a little bit more engaging, and I am fine with not likable characters, but I don't know. This one just didn't do it for me. So I'm not really sure. I have the third book. Let's see, what's the third book? The Silent Suspect. I don't know if I'll read the third one or not. I don't know. But I really like the first one, so there's that. Then I also listened to a nonfiction. It's called An Elegant Defense, The Extraordinary New Science of the Immune System, A Tale of Four Lives by Matt Richtel. I listened to this on Libby. I really liked it. I like to do a lot of research into the immune system because mine is wacky. And it was really informative, and I felt like the stories that he put, the personal stories that he put, were really helpful to know the history of the research into the immune system. You talk about, there's one personal story where it's a friend of his, and that friend kind of spurred him to write this story. His friend has cancer, and then another person that he interacts with has HIV. And so we see a lot of the research that we have now about the immune system and helping to deal with autoimmune disorders and COVID and all that kind of stuff started back in the 80s with HIV. And Dr. Fauci is kind of central in our research with the immune system. So all of that was really informative. It was really well researched. And then he also brings in two women, their stories. One has rheumatoid arthritis and one has lupus, I think. And it was just really well done. And if you're looking for something engaging that kind of humanizes a lot of this scientific research, I highly recommend it. And like I said, the audiobook is what I listened to. It was really, really good. And it's really accessible because, I mean, I do research and I work in psychology, but I don't think scientifically. I'm more on the writing side of it. So yeah, the science part can sometimes, like all the cell stuff, I didn't listen as closely to all of that information, but I didn't feel like I missed much if I didn't hone in on all of the cellular descriptors. So yeah, 5 stars. What am I reading right now? I am working my way through Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I've never read this. I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but I've never read it. I'm also reading Wellness by Nathan Hill. I'm just about 30 pages into this. It's really good. And then today, while I was at the coffee shop, and my computer crashed, I started The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. And I'm only like a chapter into this, but it's really cute so far. So that's where I'm at reading wise. Let's do my chocolate. Let's get some chocolate. Definitely need some chocolate. Where is 6? 6 is up here. Let's see. Oh, we have a green one. What a green one. This is going to be a solid milk chocolate. So that'll be good for later. And then we're going to do our 12 Days of Beauty. We're doing number 3. What is this? Marshmallow setting spray. So I guess when you wear makeup, you spray this on your face. Interesting. Some of this stuff may be going to my sister. You know, the ballerina who wears makeup on stage and stuff. But, all right, well, that's that one. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you're reading. Are you reading anything good? I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.